Dumeka la pere le amohela naneo la rena le ratehang la mafumahadi. Ke lona naneo la rena le keteka mafumahadi a rona a dipapadi mona Afrika Borwa le mose. Mona mo kaneleng ya bobedi. Nna lebitso la ka ke Lebohang Motsoeli.
And my name is Vaylen Kirtley. Thank you for joining us again right here on SABC2, where you belong. Today our conversation is about women who are breaking through the glass ceiling when it comes to rugby. You're welcome to join in the conversation. It's so easy on social media. On Twitter, it's @sports@SABC, @Lebo Motsoeli, @Vaylen Kirtley. Just use our hashtag across all of the social media platforms, #TheLadiesClub.
Like Vaylen has already mentioned, we have a really exciting topic today, and I just can't wait to get involved and get the conversation going, because we're also going to be shining the spotlight on women who are breaking through the glass ceiling. And these are the ladies who are paving the way for other pioneers in the pipeline.
Before we get our chat going, we'd like to set the tone for today's show, and we always do that with an inspiring quote. And these words of wisdom this week come from Dr. Precious Motsepe. She says, creating a culture of ambitious and strong-willed women requires solidarity among women, and especially the inclusion of men. From my childhood experiences, I recognize that our existence is interdependent. What an amazing quote. Dr. Precious Motsepe is a businesswoman and humanitarian who is widely recognized as one of South Africa's most successful women.
She has, of course, worked in both the public and private health sector as a general practitioner and opened one of the first health clinics in Johannesburg for women. She was later drawn into the glitz and glamour of fashion when she realized that the fashion and clothing industry can play an important role in supporting and developing small businesses as well as promoting entrepreneurship. She also heads the Motsepe Family Foundation, which immerses itself in projects and ventures that really positively impact on the country. That's really such a profound and important quote, talking about ambition and the non-tearing down of the men, while we also raising ourselves up. We don't need to take down the men. There's no such, we don't have to compete.
Every single week on the show, we share quotes, and it's really a great platform to us to be able to draw on the wisdom of so many other women. And I know I've mentioned this before, but I told you that one of my favorite quotes is from Dr. Rampele, who actually speaks about, in order for us to truly emancipate women, we have to teach young boys how to deal with emancipated women. And I think that that's so incredibly important, because we can't have the one without the other, you know, because we are in a world where both have to coexist in order for us to, and work together in order for us to have something that's quite beautiful. All right, we are chatting all things rugby. When we come back from the break, you can join in the conversation on anything that may be tugging at your heart. But before we do, I have to just tell you, when this story came through, I was in the newsroom, it was in the morning, I was like, oh, she did it!
She did it!
Mountain climber Sarah Khumalo is being hailed as a brave and strong woman following her successful climb to the top of Mount Everest.
Khumalo, who was a TLC guest just earlier this year, in fact, descended successfully to the base camp, and that's despite, unfortunately, losing 2 team members along the way. She made history by becoming the very first African black woman to summit Mount Kilimanjaro.
Everest, not Kili.
Mount Everest, Mount Everest, of course. I'm thinking of another one of our colleagues who's getting ready, Pearl Shong. We're in the newsroom.
Stunning.
Yes, to summit Mount Kilimanjaro. So hopefully we'll have her on the show as well, talk about it.
Man.
But Sarah,
congratulations on a 4th attempt.
yeah, 4th time lucky.
You know, it is just such an incredible, incredible achievement. So congratulations to her.
All right, going to take a quick break.
Yeah, I think so. Let's take a break. We'll be back after this.
Hobel tries to force a gap. O'Flynn puts her on her back. There's an injury to Baxter and the Irish team. In fact, it's Fitzhenry who's taken a knock there. South Africa try and drift across. Verishka Grain. Little switch with Roos. Roos goes through. South Africa strike back, 5 points on the board. And the player we mentioned to watch out for, Nadine Roos for South Africa, and her 6th, 7th try.
Lovely to see that smile on her face as she looks up into the sky. But
and you get to see the smiling studio. Remember to join in our conversation as we talk about a very exciting game changer at Lebo, Motsoeli, at Vaylen, Kirtley, at Sport at SABC. Continue to use the hashtag The Ladies Club. Welcome back. This is The Ladies Club.
We're joined in studio by seven scrum half, NADINE Roos, and she's our game changer for today. NADINE grew up on a farm with her grandmother in Limpopo, playing rugby with the boys. She's a dynamic multi-sport athlete who has dabbled in a bit of netball, athletics, cross-country, cricket, and eventually chose to focus in on rugby. And what a gift it has been to our national team.
Of course, so she made her Springbok Women's Sevens debut back at 2016 during the season opening. That was the Dubai leg of the World Rugby Women's Sevens Series, and enjoyed an amazing year. 2018 playing at the Commonwealth Games. Hi, Mete Africa Borwa, kwana Australia, followed by the World Cup, kwana U.S.A. She has an amazing story to share. So what better way to let her instead share it? NADINE, welcome. Good morning. Welcome to the Ladies Club.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's so good to have you in studio. Yeah. So let's focus in on why rugby, because you are a very talented sportswoman and you could have really chosen anything. Why rugby?
I grew up in a rugby home, and growing up on the farm, you know, playing with the boys, it's a different way of growing up. And then when I came to university and my whole athletic career didn't work out quite well, then the Tuks Ladies coach approached me and asked me to come and join a night for training with the Tuks Ladies, and I joined them, and I liked the training very much that evening, and I decided to stick for a while. And a month later, I went with the Tuks Ladies on tour to France, and then at the end of the year, in November, at the Nationals in Nelspruit, that I represented the Blue Bulls, Coach Renfren Dazel saw me there and then asked me to come and join a training camp with the Springboks in Stellenbosch, and since then, my doors just opened with the Springboks.
And has sport always been something you love from a very young age, in terms of a sporting family and support that you come from in sport?
Yes, sport was a thing for me since little. I did athletics from primary school. I enjoyed, I'm a busy person, so I enjoyed doing sports and I loved every moment of it. My grandmother was my support system. She was always there, supporting me at every athletic competition, next to every netball court. The cross-country was a little bit, it's different because we don't always participate back in Limpopo. It was always here in Pretoria at the University of Pretoria. But yeah, my grandmother was my biggest support system I had, and she always supported me in every decision I made whenever I choose to participate in sports.
You achieved quite a lot of success quite quickly when you got involved in rugby. Do you ever kind of take stock and say, gee whiz, I didn't realize that it was going to be this kind of ride, because it really has been quite a lot of success quite quickly when it comes to rugby?
Yes, for me, matriculated in 2014 and then 2015 traveling overseas. I mean, for me, since little, it was a dream of going overseas, seeing places. And then at the end of the year, representing the Blue Bulls at the Nationals, and then thereafter, someone scouts you there and tell you, listen, come to a training camp in Stellenbosch. And then since 2015, they were negotiating with me for a contract, but I could never sign a contract because of my studies, and I couldn't move my studies to Marties. But I just hold on to the opportunity that was there, and always them flying me into Stellenbosch for training camps, getting ready for an international tournament coming up. And then after that, I think for me, just holding on to the opportunity and grabbing everything with both my hands, and participating in every tournament I could for the Springboks. I think that was a great way for me, opening doors, and now signing a contract this year until 2020. Having the Olympics in the eye next year, qualifying at the end of the year, hopefully for that. Yeah, that's something to look forward.
But what was the initial dream? As we were taking part in sport, come matric, and then the Blue comes knocking as well. What was the initial dream? Where did you want to take the love of your choice in sport too?
Well, athletics was the dream, competing in 400-meter hurdles. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. And
Well, it could still work out.
It could still work out. Running masters maybe after playing rugby. You never know. But yeah, like, it didn't work out. But I think that was God's way of closing one door and opening another door with the rugby. And I think I enjoy the rugby. I enjoy the people I'm working with. It's a great environment I'm at Stellenbosch Academy of Sport. You're surrounded with the Blitzboks men. They're world-class people. There's always people coming in, international athletes coming in, training at Stellenbosch Academy of Sport. You can interact with them. So I think it's a door that opened for me, and I'm very happy and blessed with that door open with the rugby and the people I'm working with.
What's been your biggest highlight so far?
Well, my biggest highlight so far was 2016 in Hong Kong. We played as an invitational side in the Hong Kong tournament. We went through the tournament, and we had, in our pool stage, we had a very bad experience against Kazakhstan. And then we knew we had to win against France to go into the semi-finals. And then we pulled it off against France in the last pool game. Went to the semi-finals against Japan, and then we played in the Hong Kong stadium that the men normally played in the World Series. Played in the final against France, and we won the tournament. And that was one of my biggest highlights, starting with the Springboks. But also always playing in Dubai. It's a very nice place to play at. It's also one of the biggest stadiums to play in. But also Commonwealth Games was also a nice experience that we gained, and World Cup as well. I mean, U.S.A, it's a beautiful country, playing in one of the most popular baseball places. That was very nice, and also to see how they build the facilities for the athletes and stuff, and also always competing against world-class athletes. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Sure. From one great athlete, as we continue with the theme of women that are breaking the glass barriers, this is something that you wanted to break as well.
Yeah, it was a landmark appointment of Lorian Johanna. She becomes the first female national rugby coach in the country, as she takes over being the head coach of our national women's under-20 team. So congratulations to her.
Absolutely. She'll be beginning next month with 2 internationals, and that's against our neighbours, Zimbabwe, in Harare. So it's kudos for her, because this is something that she's also wanted. I mean, looking at the 2010 Rugby Women's World Cup, learning the ropes there, coaching at Western Province, and now achieving this one. This is incredible.
Making history, and she's going to be joined by another Springbok women's player, Natasha Hofmeester, who will take up the role of South Africa's women's under-20 team manager. So it's so good to see that rugby are following in the footsteps of what we've seen SAFA doing by getting former players involved in the game for women, which is really fantastic. We'll continue our conversation with our game changer today, NADINE ROOS, when we come back. Stay with the Ladies Club.
Welcome back. Unso buile na no larna le ratahang eleng the Ladies Club mo mo kana le nya bodi rena le game changer rona who is in studio kena he NADINE ROOS unka karolo papading ya sevens rugby mona mo Africa Borwa.
So, the big goal, obviously, the year before the Olympic Games, South Africa unfortunately not making the Games in Rio, but there is a very good opportunity coming for Tokyo next year.
Yeah, so at the end of this year, I think it's in September, that we will go to the African Cup. That normally is the tournament that's for the qualifiers, like the Commonwealth Games qualifiers was. So hopefully if we can win there in the final, get to the final, that's going to be the main goal, and then qualify for Olympics, then next year it's Tokyo for us.
Let's have a quick look at our trailblazer today, who's a former South African rugby player, AB Patricia Barrett-Teron, who started playing touch rugby actually back in 2000. And within just 5 years, she was playing provincially, first for KZN and then the Western Province.
Internationally, Barrett-Teron featured at the 2010 Women's Rugby World Cup in England. Despite her successes as a rugby player, she longed to do so much more. So following her retirement from rugby, she decided to take up refereeing.
And her dreams came true when she was included on the refereeing panel for the 2016 Olympic Games. What an incredible feat that was. Women such as herself moving on from the game of rugby into refereeing, but staying within the fraternity. Does that also inspire you in terms of not now, but in many years to come, when you also hang up your boots, perhaps, Nadine?
Yes, I thought about it.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, you know, if you decide to hang your boots up as a player,
Yeah.
you can also entering another way for rugby and make a difference in rugby as well through refereeing. If you look at Amy Barrett, she was also one of the greatest players. She played for the Springbok women's sevens team. And now she's one of the best refs on the World Series. So she's one person to look up to as well. So that was a thought. Maybe one day I can ref.
Speaking about role models, I know that you said your one role model is the man that's the most capped sevens player in South Africa in Branko de Preer, and you mentioned working so closely alongside the men's national team. For the women, though, how difficult is it, considering the massive success that the men have had, to be in the national women's setup for the sevens game?
Well, I don't think it makes like a big difference looking at them that they're so successful on the World Series and we're not even yet on the World Series. But even at a dinner table or at breakfast, you can go and sit and have a chat with any of the men and you can talk to them and ask them, like, what does it take to, you know, be on the World Series? What does it take to be one of the best teams in the world? And they will talk to you. And like, that's the type of culture we want to create in sevens, is that you can walk past them and they greet you with a smile and you greet them with a smile. And we feel comfortable in that system.
You and I have had lots of dealings with the national men's sevens team, and that's really something that you get from them. Hey, there is this family amongst, you know, amongst the sevens players.
Now, talking about coming back and talking to the gents about that tour in Paris, what was your biggest learning curve having been there, coming back successfully?
Well, the biggest learning curve for me now in France was that in any weather circumstances, like, you need to be adaptable as a player. Learning on the field, like, to learn yourself as a player, to see, okay, well, something that worked in a previous tournament is not working now for me, but also opening up to that growth for you as a player. I think that was the biggest learning curve for me now, coming back from France.
Your favourite book is Killing Caroline by Sarah Jane King, who is a journalist and a radio presenter. But her book that she wrote is about being adopted, and she was left by her parents, born illegal under then apartheid government. Why does this story resonate with you?
Well, my coach Paul Dalport, I walked this one day into his office and he's like, "You like reading?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do like reading." And he's like, "Well, here's a book, you can read it if you want to." And I took the book and I read the short script of the book and I was like, it looks quite interesting, I might read it. And then when I took it and I started reading the book, I was kind of blown away by how she, as a person, obviously grew up and also made a success out of her life. I think, like, just reading that, I don't know why Coach Paul gave me the book to read, but I think reading the book was blowing my mind, because it just shows you everyone's story is different in the world, and what you make out of your circumstances, it doesn't define you as a person, but it can create you as a person and where you want to go in life, what you want to achieve in life.
And you're also involved in the fight for the fatherless. Tell us a little bit more about the organization and what it stands for.
I think I came back from a tournament And this guy contacted me he's from the UK, and he told me, so the page is about orphan kids. So they create this page for all sports stars to share their stories, why are they in this particular career they're in, what do they want to create out of this career, or what is the story what's the story behind their careers. And he asked me if I wanted to share my story. And then I decided, well, something in my life changed, and maybe I can change someone else's life. And that was my goal of sharing my story on this page. And I think somewhere it might have changed a kid's life out there, orphan kid's life. And hopefully they can look up to the story and see that, again, your circumstances doesn't define you as a person, and you don't have to be trapped in that disadvantage you have, but you can excel above the disadvantages you have in your life and make the best out of your life that you have. And also to know that everything you have is God that gave you that. I mean, the talent you have, God gave it to you. It's not, you work hard to excel in life, but the talent you have, it's given by God. And I think just for them to live that talent out, and also to see and to know that God will always be by their sides, whatever they do.
Can you share that story with us?
Well, it's a very personal story, and it's still like sometimes like touches me. But yeah, it's just in short, I grew up with my grandmother. My grandmother came, my mother left me at the, if I can call it a kindergarten school, kind of. Yeah, so it's like a creche school. And the lady that was looking after me at the school called my grandmother and said, well, my mother never came to fetch me now for about 4 days. And then my aunt, so my mother's sisters, stayed in Pretoria. They came to fetch me that day, and then my grandmother drove to Pretoria to come and fetch me. Then my aunt wanted to put me into care, but and then my grandmother said, no, I'm a blood, so she will take me as her own. And then I grew up with my grandmother.
Is she proud of you?
She is very proud of me. Like, yeah, she always gets, when I bring back a trophy home or a medal, she can't wait to take the medal to someone and be like, look what I just brought home, and then things like that. So, yeah, she's very proud of me and what I've achieved so far in my life.
And what has been the fondest memory growing on the farm?
Waking up every morning with the birds in the background.
The best.
Yeah, playing outside, having that freedom to play outside. And also like being there with my grandmother on the farm. I think like that's the best way for a child to grow up is, you know, just run around, do whatever you do. If you break something, you might get shout-outs or something, but you can play. There's a whole, like a big grass that you can play in. There's a garden you can play in. You can climb trees. So, yeah, that's one of the biggest memories growing up on the farm.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story, a very personal story that is as well, because you're also now part of South Africa. You know, you're one of us.
Yes.
So we always want to hear how you grew up and where you come from and where you're going, and we're so proud of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nadine, I am amazed by, in spite of the challenges, how you have just grabbed each and every single opportunity and turned it into gold. May that continue to happen for you and the team going forward as you guys prepare to hopefully qualify for next year's Olympics.
Please.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week. We definitely have enjoyed spending that time with you, along with our game changer in studio, NADINE ROOS.
Remember that you can continue the conversation on social media. It's so easy. Just use our hashtag the Ladies Club. And until we meet again, remember that greatness is never ever given. It's always earned. Until next week, bye-bye.